Hi guys, how are you doing? My name's Melina and welcome back, or welcome if you're new. Today I wanted to share with you guys my all-time beauty favorites of 2020 and, well, of all time, but from 2020 back. There are a lot of people who do beauty content, and instead of doing a all-time beauty roundup, they tend to do like yearly roundups. And so I saw Samantha Ravindell, who is a YouTuber. I will show you her picture right here. She tends to do all-time beauty favorites, and I really like the idea of that, because I feel like when you're just comparing the best of the year, there might be a product that's older that's just way better, and you don't necessarily need to go with the newest to be the best. And so I did write a blog post of my all-time beauty favorites for 2019 and back, and so this year I thought I would update that, but in a video format. There weren't that many changes in terms of like favorites, mainly because of the fact that I didn't wear that much makeup in 2020 because of the pandemic, but there were a few changes, and I thought it would be cool to look back on it and see what my new updated favorites are. So let's get into it. So I want to start off with mascaras. I am really picky with my mascaras. I like lots of volume and lots of length. I like to look really black and really like almost like falsies almost. Like I don't go for the natural mascara. I don't want just lengthening. I need them to look thicker too. My curls naturally curl pretty well on their own, so I'm not always necessarily looking for a curling mascara. My all-time favorite still to this day is the Milk Kush mascara. It does not crumble or create little flakes underneath my eyes. It creates a beautiful curl. My lashes look lengthened and very voluminous, but they also don't look like spider legs, you know, like some of those mascaras tend to do. I know it's kind of expensive for a mascara, but I highly recommend it. Even in the packaging, you feel how weighty it is, and it's just completely worth it. It was my favorite in 2019, and it's still my favorite for the year 2020 and even now to 2021. So for eyeliners, like the glide-on eyeliners, my favorite still to this day is the Urban Decay 24/7 glide-on liner. I usually use the shade Perversion, which is the black one, but the only difference between that is this year I kind of went for more natural tones, and so I went for like this coppery brown, and it's called Smog. That is now my new all-time favorite shade, but to be honest, that whole line of gel liners, for me, they're the best. They last on my waterline. They don't really wash off. They're super pigmented. They feel really creamy, so they don't have like that roughness that you feel underneath your, like in your waterline. I hands down recommend that one. Now for liquid liners, I definitely think, I feel like I'm being repetitive because it's like literally very similar, but the Hank & Henry liquid liner is the best liner I've ever used. They did come out with a brown shade in the year 2020, which is what I switched over to. So the black shade was my favorite, the Blickety Black. But since I'm not really going out anymore because of the whole pandemic, I switched to the Blickety Brown. They're both really good. They are a brush tip versus a felt tip, which I found that it's a lot easier to be able to create the thin lines in the correct angle, and they don't dry off as easily. Like I feel like a felt tip, the tip of the brush dries out, and so then you really sometimes have struggle when you're fixing a line and trying to go through it again. So I highly recommend checking out the Hank & Henry pens. They're the best liquid liners I've ever used. So for eyeshadows, it was a little hard for me because of the fact that, like, again, I didn't really get to use that many new palettes. If I were to choose a new palette that I bought in the year 2020, it definitely would have to be the Dominique Cosmetics Latte palette. The shades blend super beautifully. I use every single shade in that palette. I find it just really nice for everyday use. You could also like make it more dramatic with the dark browns that they have in there, or the colorful shades. It's just a beautiful palette. Then back to the older palette. Top palettes are the So Jaded palette by Colourpop, the Anastasia palette, the Modern Renaissance palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. Even though I don't grab for them as much as I normally would, I still find that the quality and what you get for those palettes is so worth it. Like the color stories, everything is just so beautiful, and it really is made a really big change in the way I look at makeup. Now I wanted to make a little subsegment of palettes that I used the most in 2020. I was really into like trying to shop my stash instead of buying a whole bunch, and the 3 palettes that I use the most, even though I don't know if they're the best, it was the Zodiac palette by Colourpop. I don't even know if they have that palette anymore, but I hit pan on 2 of the shades in 2020. And then I also turned back to my Too Faced chocolate and semi-sweet palette. I think lots of browns, it smells like chocolate. It's honestly a classic. I don't know if the formula is exactly the same as it was when I had originally bought it. I got it as soon as it had come out, back when it was popular. And to this day, it's a palette that I really enjoy. I think I get a lot of use out of almost all the shades in those palettes. They smell delicious, like I said. They're really user-friendly, and even though they don't swatch like a lot of palettes you find now, they don't swatch. They're a little, like, what's the word? They kind of swatch kind of like patchy. On the eyes, I don't have that issue, so to be honest, swatches don't really show that much to me about the palette itself, except for maybe seeing like what the color could look like. And so I definitely like these palettes a lot. I don't know if it's necessary to buy because I do think that they had discontinued the chocolate palette recently, but it's one of my all-time favorites, and I'm so glad I have it in my collection. I do also want to mention an eyeshadow that I did use, and I would consider it now one of my all-time favorites, and it is the Kosas liquid eyeshadows. It has become one of my most used eyeshadows. I have it in my purse at all times with me whenever I want to just make my eyes pop a little bit. I have it in a coppery shade, and it's honestly stunning. It's really liquidy. You literally just pass it once and you literally can run all over your eye. It doesn't dry down super quickly, but it does dry down in a really beautiful way. It does have glitters. It doesn't feel like a Stila one because the Stila just feels a lot more there. The Kosas one is like a barely wash, but you definitely could run through it again and make it a lot more noticeable. I love it. I love it for day to day. You could wear it to put it on top as an eyeshadow topper. I just really like it. I really think people don't really talk about it enough, and I don't know why because it's such a good product. I will say that the 2 blushes that I did put on my top as my all-time favorites still stand by. The Too Faced Peach My Cheeks, I believe, in like, what is it? In Ginger Peach, and the Nudestix, any of the Nudestix blushes, but the one I use is Sunkissed. I think they are stunning cream blush formulas. I completely have moved away from powder blushes, with the exception of the Animal Crossing blush I just bought, but I'm a huge fan of cream blushes. I have really dry skin, and just cream products tend to like sit like a dream on my face. A new blush that I do want to add to my list is the Honest Beauty blushes. They have the most stunning formula. It is so pigmented. It stays on your cheeks forever. It is what I'm currently using on my cheeks right now. I think I use it all year round. I have used that blush day in and day out, and it still has not made a dent in the product. You have to be really careful because a little goes a long way with that blush. It is very, very, very pigmented, but it is gorgeous. Definitely one of my top blushes ever. Okay, so for bronzers, I do want to switch it up. I did put my top favorites as being the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, and it is still one of my top bronzers. I did finish it literally about a week ago or so, but I do want to add a new favorite into my group, and it is the Nudestix bronzers. I use it in the shade Bondi Bay, and it is so stunning. It blends really well, which I haven't had the luck of finding a bronzer that blends the way that that one does. I literally swipe it wherever I need to, and then I use the stipple brush, the small stipple brush from e.l.f., and it looks so beautiful, really natural. It does come in a lot of shades, so you might find something maybe better suited for your shade, but that is the shade I use, and I love it. If you're looking for a cream bronzer, that is the one I recommend. So for foundations, there was only one foundation option that I did choose in the year 2019, which was the Foundcealer, which is actually what I'm currently using on my face. I still think it is a beautiful bronzer, one of the only bronzers that come in my shade almost perfectly. I use light medium honey almost all year round. There are a few months in December where I'm a lot whiter, and so therefore I tend to use another concealer or foundation. But I love it. It has SPF, a mineral SPF at that, and it doesn't irritate my skin. It has oatmeal in it. It's very just like, it sits so nicely. It has a medium coverage, but you definitely could build it up to a full if you wanted to. I tend to use it in the light to light medium range. And then for lighter foundations, it's not a foundation, it's more of a CC cream. In 2020, I didn't use that much foundation. So when I did want something just to like get rid of some of the redness in my face, I used the Maybelline CC, the Pretty Fresh, the one that's with the pink words on them. I love it. It also has a mineral SPF of, I believe, 35. It's really affordable. It's about $10 and it lasts you so long. I highly recommend everyone who wants like a very light coverage, but it does, like I said, it does cover all of my redness and some of my acne and everything. I literally put it in with my fingers. I don't use a brush or a sponge for that. And I think it looks so nice. I get so many compliments when I wear it and it just looks stunning. I highly recommend it. It's been one of my top like coverage products for 2020. Okay, so my top concealer for 2020 is still the Shape Tape. I was looking for, I love the coverage. Nothing could beat how much coverage it has. I was looking for a dupe for it and I actually found a product that I think is amazing. It is the e.l.f. Camo Hydrating Concealer. I think it is almost the perfect dupe for Tarte, the Tarte Shape Tape specifically. It is a little more hydrating, I feel, and it feels a little lighter underneath the eyes, especially, which is where I tend to use that product the most. It doesn't have as impressive of a shade range as Tarte does in terms of undertones, but you can't beat the price. It is so, so good. It's actually what I'm using underneath my eyes at the moment, and I think it's just a beautiful, beautiful concealer. So for my primers, I actually didn't change too much. I just started using the Weleda Super Rich Moisturizer, whatever. It's like in that green tube. I'll have a picture here. And I've been really liking it, but I've only been using it for about like 2 weeks now, so it's a little early to know if it's an all-time favorite, but I'm just going to mention it as like an honorable mention. I really, really have been enjoying how hydrating it is underneath my skin, underneath my makeup. But my all-time favorites have been the Too Faced Hangover Primer, very moisturizing. If you don't like coconut on your skin, I would skip that one. I like the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. It's moisturizing. It keeps your makeup on all day long. 100% recommend. The Tatcha Silk Canvas is really, really good. You have to be careful not to use too much product because it could look a little cakey and it just might not sit right if you use too much. And as a dupe, I really like the e.l.f. The Putty Primer. That's what it's called. The e.l.f. Putty Primer as a dupe for the Tatcha Silk Canvas. The ingredients aren't as good, but I mean, the effects are almost exactly the same. So you kind of have to figure out like whether you want to spend more for the Tatcha Silk Canvas or if you don't mind spending less on the e.l.f. Putty Primer. I've been using the e.l.f. Putty Primer and I've really been enjoying it. My skin still really likes it. So I would definitely check those out. There's a lot of really good drugstore concealers. You can see them all over my blog. I really like the Maybelline Mega Glow, the Wet n Wild, oh, my bad. The Wet n Wild Mega Glow or the Maybelline Chromatic Metal Highlighters, but those are powder highlights, which is something I've been staying away from actually in the year 2020. I stuck almost solely to the Colourpop Supershock highlighter. I use the shade Wisp. It's what I'm using on my cheeks right now. I don't know if it's noticeable, but I love it. It is super hydrating. It turns into kind of like a powder on top. It doesn't feel overly mattifying. It's on top of my skin beautifully. It doesn't emphasize pores, which is what I found. It's what I feel happens with powder products a lot of the time, especially if they're overly metallic. Like they just sink into my pores right here and becomes like way too noticeable, and it's just not flattering at that point. I've kind of went away from like that super blinding highlight and kind of gone for like a step up natural, you know, not super natural but not super blinding, and so I've been loving the Supershock highlighters. So for brows for 2020, I had solely used the Colourpop Brow Wiz pencil, I believe it is, the Precision, the really thin one, in Audacious Auburn, and the dark, one shade dark of that one. I forget what it is. It's the something brunette. I really like them. I feel like they're a little cheaper made. Again, I have issues with things breaking and just popping off, but it's really affordable and it works really well for my brows. I'm actually currently not using any brow products, which I completely forgot about. My all-time favorite is always going to be the Anastasia Brow Wiz pencil. I think it has the best pigment. It's super thin. It just comes out super flattering on the brows. I will add one product to my all-time favorites, and it is a brow gel. I am currently using the Colourpop brow gel, and I've been really liking it. I use the shade Taupe, I believe. It's like a really light brown. I really like the product. I think it looks stunning. It kind of holds my eyebrows together once I kind of like line it a little bit, and I think it's a good introduction to brow products, at least. I don't know if it's going to be the one, but I'm on the search for the best brow gel. So keep your eyes out. For lip liners, I really haven't been using that many lip liners in this year. I would honestly say that the Kylie lip liners are super creamy. I really enjoy them, but I haven't bought new ones since my old ones, so I don't know if the formulas have changed. But the original formula is super creamy. It really holds off really well. I really enjoy them. I really like the Laura Mercier lip liners. I would compare them to like a MAC lip liner, but a little less dry, because I feel like the MAC ones, you need to warm them up almost with your skin and then it runs well. And I find the Laura Mercier is similar, but it takes less time to like heat up. And then for an affordable option, I like the NYX lip liners. I'm not very picky with my lip liners in terms of staying power, because if I want staying power, I would usually choose like a mattifying lip of some sort. But those are the products I've been using and I really enjoy them. For lip balm, my all-time favorite has been, most likely will always be the Burt's Bees lip balm, the original with the peppermint and the vitamin E. I am not very picky with lip balms, but I also don't want to spend too much, because that's a product that I'm constantly like going through and using up. And I tried out a Kosas lip balm with SPF and I really enjoyed it, but it was $18, which I can't justify to continuously spend $18 on a lip balm that I'm going to use all the time. And so I went back to my Burt's Bees. So that's what I'm going to recommend. That's what I like. So for lipsticks, my all-time favorite product right now are the Colourpop lippy sticks. I have been using them nonstop throughout 2020. They feel really natural on the lips, almost like a lip balm, but it has so much pigment, and I really enjoy them. My runner-up are probably the Bite lipsticks and the Bite lippy sticks. They have their own version of like a stick. I just really enjoy them and their formula. I think it just feels really great, and that's what I really want when I want a product for my lips. For lip gloss, I definitely want to recommend the Dominique Cosmetics lip glosses. They're a little sticky, but not too much, but they feel thick like a lip balm, but then they give you this beautiful shine, which I find that some lip glosses aren't actually very hydrating at all, and quite the opposite. Like the Colourpop ones, I find them super drying. I don't like them at all. They have a weird smell to them, like chemical-y smell. I don't like it. I highly recommend the Dominique Cosmetics one. I've had one and I've been using it nonstop, and I'm only maybe halfway done. So look into those. For setting powder, I have like a very complicated relationship with setting powder, because I just have really dry skin, and so like I've been having a lot of issues with my skin in terms of like what product's gonna work best for it. For a mattifying powder, I've been really liking the Beauty Bakery one, because I feel like it just doesn't settle into my skin too much. But I'm on the lookout for like a hydrating powder, so if anyone has any recommendations, please let me know, because I still haven't found one I like. For a setting spray, I definitely have to give it up to the Hourglass setting spray. I was sent this early into 2020, and it has been probably one of the best setting sprays I've ever used. It's super fine mist. It hydrates my skin really well, and it also sets it and melts kind of the makeup together in a way that kind of like the Max Fix Plus does, but it's finer than the Max Fix Plus. For mattifying setting sprays, I like the Urban Decay All Nighter, of course. And I also like the Skindinavia spray. I forget what it is called. The Skindinavia Makeup Finishing Spray. Those are used for mattifying. If you're going out at night, you need something to last all night long, you use those. On my day-to-day life, I tend to use the Max Fix Plus or the Hourglass setting sprays, because me and my dry skin, it just handles it a lot better. And finally, I actually did not use lashes, I don't think maybe only once in the whole year of 2020. And so I don't have any new favorites, but I'm going to repeat what my favorite one was 2019, which was the Sephora House of Lashes collab. They have a set of lashes called Marigold, and they are, oh, chef's kiss. They're so beautiful. They look stunning on my eye shape. They really are. They're kind of wispy and fluffy, but they have a little bit of length. They kind of tether out, so they're a little thinner here, and then they kind of come outward, so they kind of give that that look that I like. And then my runner-up would be the Ardell Demi Wispies. They are affordable, they look great on my eyes, I get compliments every time I wear them, and even if they don't last for as many uses as the House of Lashes ones, they're way more affordable. So I really hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what your all-time favorite beauty products are. If you like some of the products I mentioned, if you don't like some of the products I mentioned, if there's other products you use, I would love to know. I'm always looking for new products to up my makeup game. So let me know down below. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to me or give me a thumbs up or both. You know, I'd appreciate all of the love. As always, I'll see you on the next one. Have a great day or night. Bye.